This episode of From Under the Sun is brought to you by Premier Tax and Notary, 548 Broadway, El Centro, California. Ask for Maria Villalobos, 760-693-2053. I am Bertie Allison, and this is episode number 2, When You've Run Out of Rocks to Build Your Stand. There comes a time in every person's life when they are called upon to take a stand, to plant their feet firmly, look life squarely in the eye, and say, enough is enough. For most of us, this is where the story of moral courage tends to derail. Because while heroes in movies always seem to have a conveniently placed hilltop or sturdy boulder to plant their metaphorical flags upon, the rest of us are left surveying the dusty landscape of our lives and realizing with great resignation that we've run out of rocks. Instead of an unshakable granite slab of principle, we have a collection of misshapen pebbles, moral fragments we've picked up along the way. There's a smooth stone of, I'll call my mother back later, sitting right next to the jagged rock of, I shouldn't have said that in traffic. A small round pebble reads, I will eat healthier tomorrow, while another crumbles under the weight of, I'll get around to donate to charity eventually. This is our foundation. I think it's time to admit that most of us are building a stand on the spiritual equivalent of loose gravel. This isn't to say we lack the moral ambition of our granite-footed forebears. No, we want to take a stand. We've read the books about bravery. We've scrolled past motivational quotes on fridge magnets that shout things like, plant yourself like a tree and let the world move around you. But when the time comes to actually do the planting, we find the ground is full of cracks, our shovel is missing, and the tree we were supposed to use is more of a shrub. So what does one do when called upon to make a stand? But equipped with nothing more than a pile of mismatched pebbles. Step 1, acknowledge your pebbles. It's tempting to wait for the perfect moment when all the stars align and a monumental boulder of purpose presents itself. This never happens. What you've got are pebbles. Acknowledge them. Own them. A small, kind gesture here, a brief moment of moral clarity there. Sure, they won't get you a monument in the town square, but they might help someone cross the street without getting run over. And that's got to count for something. Step 2, stack what you've got. Even if you don't have a boulder or principles to stand on, you can still make a pile, a modest pile, mind you, one pebble at a time. You'll find that eventually you've got a place to perch, even if it's not a grandiose mountaintop. Take all those small decisions, the time you didn't lie on your taxes, the moment you resisted throwing a stapler at a coworker, and stack them. A stand built from modest stones may not get you far off the ground, but at least you'll have a better view than if you'd sat in the mud. Step 3. Stop waiting for the heroic moment. We've been trained by movies and novels to expect that our big moral stand will come with swelling music and dramatic lighting. But in real life, the big moments often look more like deciding not to kick the vending machine when it swallows your dollar for the third time. You may never face a grand injustice where you must throw yourself in front of a bulldozer. Though if you do, I hope it's on soft ground. Your moral stand may just be the daily act of getting out of bed, putting on your shoes, and choosing to be slightly less terrible than you were yesterday. Step 4, celebrate the pebbles you don't throw. Sometimes making a stand means resisting the urge to throw things at the injustices in our lives. That boss who seems to have come straight from a Dickinson novel, that nosy neighbor with opinions about your lawn. Consider the moral victory in all the rocks you've chosen not to throw at their heads. Instead, you stack them quietly, adding to your growing little pile of virtue. Step 5. Embrace the wobble. Let's be honest. Your pebble stand is not going to be the most stackable construction. It's going to wobble, lean precariously, and maybe even collapse once or twice. But that's okay. The trick isn't in building something perfect, but in the continual act of standing, however wobble that stand might be. There's an art to keeping your balance on shifting ground, and anyone who's ever survived a family reunion knows this intimately. Step 6. Admire the view. When you finally get your pebble stand up and it's just high enough that you can see over the heads of the crowd, take a moment to admire the view. Sure, you're not on top of a mountain, but you're standing taller than you were before. You've built something out of the fragments of daily decisions, small kindnesses, and a few moments of moral clarity. And from up there, you can see a lot further than you could sitting down. In the end, it's not the size of your stand that matters. It's the fact that you bothered to stand at all. Life doesn't always give us the perfect rock to plant ourselves upon, but with enough pebbles, you can build something that holds, however imperfectly. And sometimes a wobble stand is the best stand of all. This episode was brought to you by Premier Tax and Notary, 548 Broadway, El Centro, California. Ask for Mariah Villalobos, 760-693-2053. Find us on Facebook and YouTube. And don't forget to visit our website at FromUnderTheSun.com. Thank you for listening.